Talk about some of the background to the deal with Jonathan Sacerdoti. He is a director of the Institute for Middle Eastern Democracy. He joins us now. Welcome to the World Today. Thanks for your time. Give us an idea. We've heard of a variety of opinions in Israel about the wisdom of this swap deal. Could you clarify one thing for us? Why has it been done now?
Well, good morning, Lawrence, and thank you for having me on the programme. It's a very good question. When Gilad Shalit has been held captive by Hamas terrorists for over 5 years, why now? And what the Israeli government has said is that the dramatic changes sweeping the Middle East have opened a brief window of opportunity to realise a deal, and in the sense that they increased the risk to Gilad's welfare and future. And also, it was the first time that Hamas has shown flexibility in the very high price they've demanded for his release. And I think the concern was that that window would not remain open for long. OK,
now does dealing with Hamas in this instant, do you think, have any repercussions for any peace process in the future? Does this mean that the Israeli government will, surely not, think that they can do business with Hamas in other cases?
I think, on the contrary, if anything, it probably shows that the Israeli government can't do business with Hamas. If you look at the disproportionate exchange that is going on, and as we heard very movingly from your previous guest, who has this horrible first-hand experience of what it means to be releasing these prisoners, many of them with blood in their hands, including more than 280 serving life sentences, more than 100 hardcore militants serving multiple life sentences for high-casualty suicide bombings, one life sentence for each fatality in the attacks they were convicted of helping to plan and implement, some of them with 16 life sentences as a consequence. No, I don't see how anybody would look at this and imagine that Israel can negotiate in any reasonable way with Hamas.
But instead, unfortunately, the partner for negotiations, the so-called partner for peace, the Palestinian Authority and Mahmoud Abbas, have rather had their legs cut away by this, because they were looking good after the business at the United Nations, and now it would appear that the actions of the Israeli government have almost deliberately handed a victory to Hamas.
Well, it's interesting that you say that at the UN, Mahmoud Abbas looked good from his actions to try and claim statehood and recognition from the international community, because, as you say, what this really does is show the theatricality surrounding that bid as nothing more than that. How could the international community be in a position to try to recognise a Palestinian state under the leadership of Mahmoud Abbas?
That's slightly a side issue. What I meant was that in terms of the support that he got from the Palestinian people, a previously beleaguered president was looking like he was on a home run, on a winning run, and now all of a sudden, with its actions, Israel has handed the victory in Palestinian public opinion, it now appears, to Hamas.
Israel's main motivation in this has to have been to get back Gilad Shalit. Every family in Israel and many beyond have looked on for 5 years and 4 months at Gilad's plight and recognised that him being held captive, having been kidnapped from Israeli territory after all Israeli civilians and soldiers had left the Gaza Strip, and then being held against all humanitarian law without any contact with the outside world or the International Red Cross, that's what was Israel's motivating factor. If one wants to read into it, that means that Israel is going to negotiate with Hamas, or that this weakens Mahmoud Abbas and his hold over the Palestinian people. Well, one can speculate on these things, but the true motivation for Israeli society has, of course, been to value one human life and make this enormous sacrifice in order to get Gilad back home to his family and back home to his country.
Well, many thanks indeed for joining us. Jonathan Sacerdoti, Director of the Institute for Middle Eastern Democracy.